and we are now recording this session. So this is one of our final sessions. We can meet again next Tuesday if you ladies think you have questions still for Tuesday, or if there's something you would like me to go over with you on Tuesday. If at the end of today you think we've covered everything, you don't have any questions, then this will be our final session today. So it's kind of up to you to make the decision. So what we're going to begin with focusing on today is the 4 skills lesson plan. And we're going to go to our source, the Canvas platform, and we're going to have a look at this section on designing structured lesson plans and lesson planning. And we have a look at the major points to consider. These are all included on that template, that assessment template that I have that I've sent. I believe I've sent it to all of you at this point in time. So all of these items, the age, the number of students, length of class, aptitude, mother tongue, cultural background, prior knowledge, target language proficiency level, all these categories of information are simply taken from this Canvas platform list and used as headings. So you should put an item into each of those categories on your lesson plan that you create. You should have all of these items listed. And then we get to the section about goals and objectives. The goal or goals, you should be able to identify an overall purpose or goal that you will attempt to accomplish by the end of the class period. This objective may be quite generalized, but it serves as a unifying theme for you. The objectives. It is imperative to state explicitly what you want students to gain from the lesson. Explicit statements help you to be sure that you indeed know what it is you want to accomplish. They preserve the unity of your lesson plan. They predetermine whether or not you are trying to accomplish too much, and they help you to evaluate students' success at the end of or after the lesson. Objectives are most clearly captured concerning what students will do. However, many language objectives are not overtly observable, and therefore you may need to depart from strictly behavioral terms for some objectives. Try to avoid vague statements like students will learn about the passive voice or students will practice some listening exercises. Those are too generalized. You would be unable to confirm the realization of any of these sorts of loosely stated objectives. In stating objectives, distinguish between terminal goals, final learning outcomes, what will be the benefit to the student at the end of the lesson. These are measured and evaluated, and the enabling objectives, the interim steps that build upon each other and lead to the terminal objectives. The enabling objectives are the actions that the student does during the lesson to arrive at the terminal objectives in order to achieve the overall goal that you stated previously. So, for example, terminal lesson objective may be students will successfully request information about airplane arrivals and departures, while the enabling objectives will be students will comprehend and produce the following 10 new vocabulary term items. And then you would have a list of those vocabulary terms here. Students will read and understand airline schedules. So in the lesson plan, you should include an airline schedule example, a timetable that would be used in the classroom discussion. Students will produce questions with when, where, and what time. And you should include examples of the questions that the students would create related to airline schedules and traveling using the when, where, and what questions. Students will produce appropriate, polite forms of requesting. This means requesting information. May I please find out the times of departure for planes flying out of my city on a certain date, for instance. So we're going to focus on those areas. Materials and equipment, that's pretty straightforward. That's just listing what it is you're using. The materials and equipment, that's just a matter of listing the items that you're using in your lesson. That's a pretty forward, straight list. There should probably be a vocabulary list of new words with almost every lesson you create. Odds are there will be vocabulary lists. In a 4 skills lesson plan, you very likely will have some grammar or written exercises or worksheets because you need to have some writing aspect in your lesson plan, not just speaking and listening, but also writing and reading. And then the procedures need to be, excuse me, quite detailed, step-by-step details, and identify separately the listening, speaking, reading, and writing activities. And this part will include pre-activities, during activities, and post-activities. Post-activities are typically the extra class work that relate back to the in-class work. So let's go to, we're going to use one of Sarwat's conversation activities as an example today. And I've highlighted in red these 3 categories because we need to work on these 3 categories and build them up a bit more completely. So this activity is about friendship. There are 20 students. The level is beginners. Ages of the students are 6 to 8 years. Length of class 40 to 45 minutes. Knowledge of students' first language or mother tongue. Cultural background is Urdu, so they're Pakistani. The environment of practice is a non-native classroom. It's an in-class situation in person with a 4-group activity. So this is about friendship. Let's create a goal for this lesson, an overall goal. So we see some notes that Sarwat has made here about some preparation things that she will be using with the classroom, having the students describe the connection between 2 individual events, ideas, or pieces of writing, using friendship poetry, Let's Be Friends, a YouTube video, another YouTube video, Bob and Otto. So let's have some ideas about a goal statement. How can we create a goal statement that describes the overall purpose of this particular lesson? Any ideas?
Can we check again the procedure? Because I usually develop the activities and then I write the goals.
I was having trouble understanding what you said, Eleanor. Your voice was not coming through very clearly. Could you try again, please?
Yeah, I was saying that is it possible for us to check the procedure again, the activities?
I'm still having difficulty understanding what it is you'd like to check. Can you type it in the chat box for me?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just having trouble. The sound of your voice is a bit muffled today. Oh, check the procedure. Okay. So she's calling it the method. That's fine. So she's having the students engage with the lesson by having them brainstorm a list of character traits they value in friends, showing the YouTube video, divide students into small groups and have them share their answers. Tell students they will be learning about and discussing friendships today. Number students off 1 to 4 and assign the one group the topic friend, the two group the topic of respect, the threes will talk about empathy, and the fours will talk about positive. Now start the lesson video Bob and Otto, the YouTube video, and instruct students to take notes on their specific topic as the lesson plays. Ask the students to meet with others who have the same topic. That she means there according to the groups that have been organized. Tell students to share their notes and work together to record their characteristics of their friendship on a chart paper. As students work, teacher circulates the room to offer suggestions and guide work. When students are finished, have them share their charts and discuss. Now give each group a set of scenario task cards, teacher prepared, samples of friendship cards, friendship books. Here's a book about friends. Here are some flashcards about friends. So she's got this material that would be shared with the students and some posters about friends and playing together, that type of thing, cards about friendship. So that's what she has in line for the procedure. After having looked at the procedure, can you come up with a goal statement?
I'm gonna write it in the chat room.
I'm sorry, pardon?
Hello. So is the focus is on French, right?
Hello, Farnaz. Your voice is really breaking up. I can't understand the words that you said. Sorry.
No problem. Is it better right now?
A little better. Try again.
Yeah, I said I think the focus is on friendship, like
Yes.
it is friendship. Okay. So I was wondering if you could repeat your question.
Right at this point in time, we're trying to develop a goal statement.
Okay.
It could also be students will be able to describe characteristics of friendship, should be able to describe and understand positive characteristics of friendship or something along those lines.
Okay, Eleanor had a good suggestion typed in the chat box. I just have to stop sharing so I can read the chat box. Describe some important qualities related to friendship. That was a good suggestion. So how about that as a goal statement? Does that make sense to everybody? It takes the ideas that both Eleanor and Z were suggesting, and how does that sound as a goal statement? General over a general overview statement.
I think it works.
I think it works too. And then if we look at the terminal objectives, now Sarwat already had these listed, but she just had them listed as objectives. And these fit nicely into the terminal objectives category, so that's why I moved them under that heading. So connected to describing characteristics and qualities related to friendship after the lesson, so the benefit to the students after the lesson, they will be able to know how to be good friends, how to use good friend vocabulary, and they will understand how to perform good friend actions. All of these are connected to this goal statement. So this all works nicely together. Do you see how that connects? Sarwat, does that make
Right.
sense to you?
Yes, it does. Because previously I was not sure about terminal and enabling objects. Like in our previous webinar, you cleared things. So now I understand a bit. So it makes sense. Yes, these all are to be put up in terminal objectives.
Okay, because see, the terminal objectives, they connect directly back to your goal.
Yes.
Because with this
Yes.
goal, these are just more details of the goal. The terminal
Yeah.
objectives are just extended details of what you want the goal to accomplish.
Yeah, and accomplishments have to be put up in terminal objectives. And like
Right.
I think, yeah, and while activities, like if it is pre, while, and then post. So like those things which are
The
being
enabling
used
objectives are the things that happen during the lesson.
during the lesson. Yes,
These are things that you've got happening during the
lesson.
method down here.
Yes.
And so, here's one thing. You could put this in an enabling objective. You could say, in groups, students will discuss and compare vocabulary terms related to friends. You could even put method item number. What number was that? Method item number 3. You could put a cross-referencing here if you want. You don't need to, but you can. Okay?
Yes.
So then another enabling objective is that you could have another enabling objective using number 6, recording characteristics. Number 6, students will record characteristics. Did I spell characteristic? No, I didn't spell it right, did I? Characteristics. Friendship on chart paper for sharing. So the enabling objectives are just things that occur during the lesson to end up at the terminal objectives, which connect back to the goal. So you've got the goal
Alright.
statement. You work through the enabling objectives to arrive at the terminal objectives, which go full circle back to the goal. So these three are all inside a big circle connected together. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay. Does that help with that section?
Evidently, certainly.
Okay, very good. Now, I would suggest that you reword this as procedure
Procedure.
or step-by-step details, something to that effect. And the reason I suggest that is because you do need to include here methodologies. So which methodologies will you use in this lesson? See, if you've got the word methodologies here, and then you've got the word method down here, you could get those areas confused. It's better to use different words. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so Sarwat, what are the methodologies you will use in this lesson based on the type of procedure steps that you have described?
Methodology, something like whatever I have put up, so I'll go through them sequence wise. Is that so?
Well, the methodologies are, would you be using CLT or communicative
I see. Yes, and
audio
total
lingual or,
physical.
which
Yes,
methodologies?
yes, you're right.
Which ones do you want me to list here?
Since it is, we're discussing a conversation activity, like all three things, and I think this was in-person class, so obviously all like CLT plus total physical response, and then that it's not going to be audio lingual, or maybe it is because I have shared the YouTube video links as well, so I'll be sharing those video links with the class. So all three things will be put up.
I
And
agree.
since
I agree.
yes,
ALM will be a factor of the
yes.
situation, yes. And
And since
depending
it's
on,
not a grammar, since it's not a grammar activity, otherwise I was supposed to put up grammar translation method as well, as you told yesterday, like in our previous last webinar.
yes, now
The
based
CLT,
on
yeah.
based on what I see down below here, you get down to it. Based on what I see in the what am I looking for here? Oh, that's the end of it.
Maybe the assessment, maybe the assessment.
I thought there was a take-home assignment.
You thought what? Sorry.
I thought I had seen a take-home assignment at the bottom, but I guess that's what this
No,
is.
no, like you meant extra class assignment.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think actually I planned this lesson like long ago, so I was not sure about the headings and the procedure. So it's just a baby step. So I must have missed so many things in this. So now I have to redo all the things.
I understand. And that's fine. I do agree with you. So your extra class assignment could be something to the effect of writing statements about friendship using vocabulary It's always a good idea to spell the words correctly in front of the students. I do my best. Writing statements about friendship using vocabulary correctly as learned in class. So because you have a written assignment now using the vocabulary, and I'll just get back up to this spot. So when you're having the lesson, having the students brainstorm lists of characteristic traits, I would suggest that you even write these T writes list of traits on whiteboard for students to copy down. And by doing that, they now have that list of traits from the brainstorming session, right? So they're doing a brainstorming session. It's a good way to open the class. But while they're doing the brainstorming, the teacher writes that list of traits on the whiteboard, the students copy them down, and then the students have that list to use in their extra class assignment that we just put here. Using those traits that they copied down originally, right?
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
It does. It does.
And now with that in mind, now that we've got that, here's your key vocabulary. So this can be your list of brainstorm traits. I'm only highlighting in red the items that I'm adding here.
Missing. Yes.
I'm going to email this back to you so you've got it for easy reference.
Oh, please, thank you. I was about to say this to you.
And then if you have these items highlighted in red, they'd be easier for you to find. That's all. That's the only reason I'm doing it in red. Just so it shows up very clearly for you. All right?
All right. All right.
So does anybody else have any comments or questions about what we've been doing here?
Yeah. Can you hear me well now? Because I tried to work on my audio.
Yes, that your voice is coming through more clearly now. Thank you, Eleanor. Yes.
Okay. So first, I just need to say one thing. I was working on my lesson plans and the conversation activities. And whenever I was writing the goal, terminal objective, and enabling objectives, and I know it's something you've already helped me with, Mr. Miller, but frankly speaking, I always end up with terminal objectives similar to the goal. So what I did is that I went to all of the lesson plans I prepared and I removed the terminal objectives.
Well, you should not remove the terminal objectives, Eleanor. You need to list terminal objectives there. The terminal objectives, they can just be a bit more detailed about the goal statement. So this goal, describing characteristics and qualities related to friendship, that's fine as a goal statement. And then the terminal objectives go into a bit more detail. So such things as knowing how to be good friends. You see, that's going into the qualities related to friendship. using good friend vocabulary to describe characteristics. So the terminal objectives are very similar to the goal, but just in more detail. It breaks down to more detail what the goal is stating, if that makes sense.
But if I want to focus on these terminal objectives, Mr. Miller, so like know how to be good friends and understand how to perform good friend actions, it's like, honestly, to me, these are not related to language itself. These are related to because we're teaching here children, so we're teaching them some values in life, or like we're educating them. But like in the case of where you are teaching adults, you don't need to be focusing on values. So okay, use good friend vocabulary makes sense to me, but number 1 and 3, honestly, like to me, they are not related to language as much as they are related to values you teach to children.
I understand what you're saying, but what Sarwat is the underlying message here is that she's wanting the students to know how to express.
Daniel, can I ask something?
How to express being good friends. So that's the type of thing that I understand what you're saying, Eleanor. And so I was kind of reading the implication into her statement. So maybe we should say here how to describe. By just changing those words, does that make more sense, Eleanor?
Uh, in this case, yes, Mr. Miller. But to be honest with you, like whenever I'm working on this, and I did it like I faced the same thing with the lesson plans, with the 4 lessons, 4 skill lesson plans, and with the conversation plans. It still feels to me the same. I don't know, like it's very confusing.
Do you want to email me one of your 4 skill lesson plans right now? And if it's okay with you, I'll share the screen on it and we'll talk about
The thing,
your goal and terminal objectives.
I'm using my cell phone, so I'm not on my laptop. I'm not at home, so that's why I cannot be accessing them. But maybe later, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So we might still do another class on Tuesday, and we might go over this again. So Eleanor, if you email me a couple of your 4 skill lesson plans, then maybe I'll share a screen with your lesson plans on Tuesday, and we'll talk about your goals and terminal objectives.
Do you want me to work again on my terminal, because I removed them? So do you want me to again work on them and show you how to me they are the same? Do you want me to write them? I mean, not work on them. Do you want me to rewrite them?
Well, yes, but don't spend a lot of time on it. But sure, because you do need to have something in there for terminal objectives. So you must
Can
have
I ask something?
terminal objectives and you must have enabling objectives. Yes, Farnaz, you may ask a question.
Yeah. Is it, let me know something. Is it possible? Because, for example, in this case, it is, I think this lesson plan is somehow cross-curricular with, let's say, social life and language. Does it work? Our lesson plan is combination of 2 things at the same time?
Well, that's definitely a very strong possibility. Very often our lesson plans are cross-curricular in the sense that they are covering not just language, but they are covering social aspects as well. Certainly.
Okay.
That gets into the approach, the humanistic teaching approach, where the social aspect and the emotional aspects of the student become a dominant factor in the teaching style. So you could even, Sarwat, in this particular lesson about friendship, you could even include here humanism. Because humanism is about learning about the self and learning how the self relates to others and and the social aspect of education as well. So Eleanor, yes, email me a couple of your 4-skill lesson plans and we'll have a look at yours on Tuesday, okay?
Okay. I still have few questions. So concerning the 4-skill lesson plans, do I need to prepare 8
I'm
or
sorry,
6?
do you need to pick the what?
To prepare 8 or 6?
Oh, how many do you need to do?
Yeah,
6.
6. Okay. And
Diploma program. So
okay.
in the diploma program, you'll have 1 for academic English, IELTS or TOEFL. And I chose mine. I did academic essay construction. And I had them focusing on what is academic writing, going through. I used an example of an article, essay format article about modern monetary theory and pandemic debt. So you do have to have 1 of your 6 is academic English for IELTS or TOEFL. Another is business. 1 lesson plan on business English. And I did mine on ordering office supplies and doing a budget proposal. So I included a template. I think I've shown you this before. I included a template of a purchase order that I got from this website called Business in a Box. It just has blank templates for business related activities. And I've got a couple of YouTube videos here. So that was my business related. And then you have to do 2 lesson plans for children. Let me get to it. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I was going the wrong way there. So you have to do 2 lesson plans for children. I did 1 based on interviewing a character in a story. So 2 lesson plans for children. I wrote a little short story. This is the sample story. I actually created the story so I can use it with no copyright issues. And I did my second one on cultural heritage. And in this one, the students were doing artwork along with writing exercises and reading and that type of thing. And then 2 of them are general adult lesson plans. So my first adult lesson plan was renting an apartment. My next one was interviewing a superhero, was my other adult lesson plan. So two for adults, 2 for children, 1 for business, and 1 for academic English. That's for the diploma group. Okay, Eleanor?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions about these 4-skill lesson plans?
I have a question, Mr. Miller.
Yes.
So is because I'm in the advanced program and I think we have to do 4, 2 for adults and 1 for business academic English and then another one for IELTS or anyways, I wondered like the one that's specifically for does that mean just teaching academic English? And what what falls under that category?
Yes, so the lesson, and you're correct, with advanced, you're doing one for academic English. With the academic English lesson plan, they want you to have a focus on IELTS or TOEFL. So
Okay, so mm,
these are students who are preparing to write IELTS or TOEFL exams in order to pursue academic studies at a college or university.
okay. All right. So it could be anywhere from teaching how to better vocabulary or comprehension, that sort of thing, to writing. So it could be on reading, writing, listening, and a combination of all of those three on a specific topic.
Well, because it's the 4 skills lesson plan, you definitely want to include listening, speaking, reading, and writing activities, definitely.
Okay.
Yes. So these are the details of the handout sheet, which outlines expectations of academic essay composition. This is what I was going to have for my students in this class.
For example, a topic on improving reading comprehension, for example, could that be a topic, or would it be too heavy on writing? Because I mean, you could have a reading, I mean, a speaking or listening aspect of it, but
You certainly could have a speaking or listening aspect to that kind of a topic, and any topic that sounds like a good topic to use, because any topic that is more academic in nature or more advanced in its approach is going to fit into this category.
okay. Mm-hmm.
But just include speaking and listening activities. So, for
Okay.
instance, you could use a YouTube recording of a Harvard lecture as a listening activity.
Okay, okay, that sounds good.
And you could ask students to make notes based on some questions that you have prepared ahead of time, and give them maybe 3 questions. They
Mhm.
have to listen to the lecture being given, and they have to write down answers and then share them verbally with the rest of the class after the YouTube video.
Mhm. All right.
Mr. Miller?
Thank
Yes,
you.
you're welcome, Z. Yes, go ahead, Eleanor.
So when we prepare the IELTS lesson plan, does it mean that I should keep in mind that since the IELTS itself is made of 4 sections, so does that mean that my lesson plan should actually cover the 4 sections? So should I give let's say 10 to 15 minutes to listening in the IELTS, 10 to 15 minutes to reading in the IELTS, or not necessarily?
No, you don't necessarily need to follow the time frames that IELTS uses, but they just want, by using this reference of IELTS or TOEFL, that just automatically makes it more of an advanced level activity. So I've got here, students are preparing to enter or already studying in a university or college setting. And these students ages 18 to 28 have advanced English language ability. So as soon as you jump into the realm of IELTS or TOEFL, you automatically jump to a more advanced level of language proficiency, because a beginner English language proficiency, somebody who is just beginning to learn English, is not going to be able to function at this level, right?
Uh,
If you have somebody who's just beginning to learn the English language, you're not going to encourage them to write the IELTS exam, because they'll fail miserably.
yeah, definitely. So that's why the level of the student here should be advanced.
That's correct.
we're not gonna put it's not gonna be with the beginning level, so it's gonna be with an advanced level.
Correct. And I honestly,
Excuse me.
yes, go ahead.
What about general IELTS? Because if it is the case of immigration or something, doesn't matter the person is intermediate or beginner. They're supposed to do the general, not academic one, but general IELTS is essential. So what about that case?
I understand what you're saying, Farnaz, but even so, even writing the general IELTS, somebody who is just beginning to learn their first few words in English, they're not going to be able to write the exam,
Right.
the general
Right.
exam.
Yeah.
If my use of the English language is restricted to counting from 1 to 10 and naming the colors red, yellow, blue, and orange, and if I can say today is sunny, or today it is raining, and if that's pretty much the extent of my English language ability, I should not be writing any IELTS exam.
Right.
Okay, so that's where I say, as soon as you've got the IELTS or TOEFL connection here, you're automatically going to be using more advanced students in the classroom.
Mhm.
I
Right.
honestly, this is just my perception, my belief. I honestly think TESOL wanted an academic English with IELTS or TOEFL connection to it, to force us as students to prepare a lesson plan for advanced. Because I've noticed that most students do not like to prepare lesson plans for advanced English students because they're not quite sure what to do. It's easier to prepare a lesson plan for a beginner or lower intermediate because you're dealing with easier material, right? So this forces us as students writing these lesson plans, it forces us to go to a higher level with the expectations inside this lesson plan. I think that's why they did it. Just my thought.
Honestly, Mr. Miller, the most difficult for me is preparing for children. I find it very difficult.
And that is the case with some people, Eleanor. I understand that. Everybody has their strength. Everybody has the group that they work best with. I've done a lot of work with young children in art and language instruction, and I always found little kids were great to work with, really easy to work with. But that's just me. Some people prefer little kids, and some people don't prefer little kids, and that's fine. That's just a difference in our personalities and our approaches. And probably the lesson plan I had the most fun with was this one, where I actually wrote the little story. So this little story that I wrote, that I created for this lesson plan, I had great fun writing the story and then creating the lesson plan around it. Does that help with the design of these lesson plans, ladies?
Yes, very much.
Any other questions about the lesson plans?
Yeah. Thank you. It was useful.
Good. So down at the bottom on the Canvas platform, down at the bottom of this this page about designing lesson plans, there is a sample with terminal objectives and enabling objectives listed here that you can have a look at as well, to give you some ideas about how you can state terminal and enabling objectives in your lesson plans. So be sure to go back to the Canvas platform and have a glance at it. because that's the source of where I'm getting all my information as well. All right, ladies, any other questions? Oh, and I just lost my camera. It just flipped to the other camera, okay? The platform
Um,
is having fun with my cameras today.
Mr. Miller, I just have a question about also the MOOC project. MOOC. So for the advanced, because I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't access the assignment yet. And I was wondering if the advanced students also are required to do the project, or is it simply just the research essay that we're meant to do?
So advanced students. Yeah, that's a very good question, Z, and that question has come up with the other group on the Monday and Saturday. The Monday and Saturday group. Let me just go back to modules for a second. We'll go to the Canvas platform. And we go down here to where we see the TESOL module. And here's the MOOC project. If you go into this MOOC project, this is on your Canvas platform. We see here that advanced certification students do not need to complete a MOOC project. Instead, they must complete the MOOC essay and a final research paper essay. Okay?
Okay, that's helpful because for some reason I couldn't access that page. I guess I haven't done enough of the activities on the platform to access it.
Probably, yes, because you need to complete all of these. You need to complete every page and get a green check mark like this on every page all the way down. And as I mentioned the other day, Dr. Valley went to my platform here and he put a check mark on every page so that I had access to view everything. But until you have this check mark on every page, including a check mark for completing the midterm exam, you will not have access to the eTESOL module. You see,
Is
in
this
order to access this module, the prerequisites are module 3, your 10 conversation activities, the 2 4 skills based lesson plans. For you, it's the 4 skills based lesson plans, Z. Your module on reading and writing, and all the grammar lesson plans. Everything before this has to be completed with the green check mark before it will unlock this module for you.
and this is automatic, is it?
Well, it's automatic as soon as you hand everything in and it gets marked. And as soon as so when you hand in your lesson plans and they get marked, then at TESOL, they go to your Canvas account and they give you a check mark here. And so that's how the platform knows that then Canvas platform knows it can unlock this for you, because all these other prior items have to have a green check mark for them.
Okay.
So make sure you do all those quizzes all the way along. All these quizzes, make sure you do all of those, because that helps you to unlock and get access to your future sections.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions, ladies, about any of these?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Next Tuesday is our last class, right?
That will be our last class. Yes.
Then after that, if we have question, we can email you, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds very good.
That will be fine. Any other questions about the platform or the research paper? Oh, You ladies were going to tell me what your research paper topic was that you had decided on.
Oh my goodness.
I heard that laughter. That sounded like nervous laughter.
Not really.
True, relevant. It's being phantom for me.
And I'm only coming back to this each day because it is
Yeah.
very important for you to get working on it. That's all. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody. I'm not trying to make you feel like you're getting behind. I'm not trying to do that at all. It's just I don't want you to get behind. That's why you need to be working on your research paper now. So, who has made a decision about their paper? Which topic?
I think I'm sticking to what I explained to you before, the A, just about teaching children to non-native English speakers, children to native speaking families.
That's fine, Z. Yep, that makes sense. That's a good one for you, yes. And Eleanor,
Can I say one
did
thing?
you decide on the link?
Yeah, I'm actually going to work on the link because, as you mentioned, Mr. Miller, it's more helpful for me now and especially for my future. So I'll definitely work on that. Unfortunately, I tried hard to. I really wanted so bad to check your paper before this webinar, but I couldn't. So as soon as I get the chance to, I will definitely. I might be emailing you. So, but I will definitely work on that on the link.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I need to say one thing. I wish, I wish when Z is done with her paper and she submits it and gets the grade, I wish she can share the paper with us because I'm very interested in knowing more about her topic, and it's really helpful sometimes when you read the research paper of other people because uh, it focuses on the most important points, and at the same time it provides sources. So and I'm just interested in it out of curiosity because I feel that this is a field which I'm not very knowledgeable in when it comes to teaching children and acquiring first and second language. So it'll be great if we can share papers after we submit them.
That's just fine. That's not a
Lovely.
problem. That's not a problem at all. I totally agree with you, Eleanor. It's a very good idea to share papers.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I would suggest you ladies do is, do all of you want to share papers with each other?
I don't mind sharing.
Me too.
Because I was just going to say, I think perhaps the easiest way for each of you to have each other's email addresses is if I send one email to the group of you.
Sounds good.
That's
That can
And
work.
then you would have each other's email addresses. That's the easiest way of getting all of your email addresses for each other and share them around. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yeah, actually, it'll be perfect.
That
So
works.
is that all right with all of you if I send an email to all of the four of you as a group?
Sounds
Definitely.
Mm.
Totally fine.
Okay, I'm doing that right now. And there's no content to the email. I'm just putting in the subject line, sharing email addresses.
I wonder if Vita would be interested.
Well, very likely, but until I can ask her, I cannot send her email address to other people, right?
Sounds good.
So that's why I wanted to make sure that I got permission from all four of you to give each
Right.
of your emails to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Mr. Miller, I have a question concerning the MOOC project.
Okay. I just sent them an
So,
email, so all of you have each other's emails now.
Thank you.
yeah, I've just received it.
Okay, so go ahead, Eleanor, about the MOOC project.
So as I told you before, since I'm teaching online, I might be recording one or two of my sessions and include it as a part of my MOOC project. But I definitely needed to take the permission of the institution I work for. And they
Yes.
asked me who's gonna get access to this, because they also need to get the consent of the students themselves, and they need to have all of the answers. So they told me, like, is it like gonna be online and everyone will access it, or is it only for TESOL? Or, and I didn't have an answer for that. So um,
Well, I cannot give you an absolute answer to it. I understand the question perfectly. So, as we've discussed before, and as you brought up, Eleanor, if you upload something to a MOOC platform during the time
mhm.
of setting up a free account, after your free trial is done, we don't know if that material is going to be accessible to the world or not.
Mhm.
We kind of doubt it, right?
Okay.
So,
But during the free trial, anyone could have access to these classes, right? Like if
correct,
I have 10-day trial, so like anyone could go ahead and access it. So it's not only TESOL, right?
correct.
So it's for the public then.
Correct. And that is the intention of the project from the TESOL assignment point of view. The intention, one of the main intentions is to help you get some experience designing a course that you could put online for real to earn money from selling your course online. So this
I see.
project is intended as kind of a practice step towards actually doing that. So the intention is that it will be available to the general public, anybody on the internet. The extent to which it is available, I cannot absolutely answer that because, as we've discussed, I don't know how long your lesson, your project would be left up by the platform, right? By
Right.
Coursera or whoever. So I cannot really give you a clear total answer to that question. It's a perfectly valid question, and I agree that not only do you need to have the permission of the institution you're working for, but you do need permission from each of the people in the class before you record them.
Yeah.
Which is why at the beginning of all of these webinars, I always say, we'll begin the recording in just a moment. Usually takes me a minute or two to sort out how I'm going to do the recording. But then at the beginning of the recording actually working, I always say, we are now recording this webinar. Because that's absolutely essential that everybody involved is aware that it's being recorded.
What if someone isn't okay with it, Mr. Miller?
Well, then you either do not do the recording or you ask them to step out of the class during the recording.
Okay, I see.
But if somebody does not want to be recorded, you cannot record them.
I see.
So, Eleanor, if that starts to become too complicated to deal with, then you might be better off to perhaps just create PowerPoints instead, or maybe set up a little bit of like a demonstration lesson and just do a private recording. Set up a Skype call with a couple of people, a couple of friends even, or a couple of students. Set up a Skype call and record it.
Okay.
Because then you can get permission from them And you can even state at the beginning of the recording that I have the permission of these two students to record them during this session. So
I see.
we always need to figure out a path that has as few obstacles as possible. And
Yeah, thank you so much for the suggestions, because I might end up doing it differently.
yes, because it sounds to me like it might become rather complicated for you to actually get the permission of all the students and the institution you're working for. That might become a long, complicated process that you don't have time for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay, any other questions, ladies, about anything to do with the course?
I think I perhaps just need to start working on this, and then questions will arise.
Everything's okay now, Z?
Yes, I think I have a better grip now, because to be quite honest, I don't know if it's the course. I guess the way the course is structured, I couldn't really quite keep up with everything. So I think just kind of having the time to confirm things has been really helpful, and just repetition has been helpful in establishing some of the things that I need to do.
Certainly, and we all need repetition on these things. That's the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve at work. Because we do not retain everything all the time completely. So that's why I wanted to have these review times, these review sessions. So that's good. I'm glad it's been helpful. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that this is a self-paced course. So even though we're finished the webinars next Tuesday, and now you're just completing assignments, you still do have a little bit of time. And I don't know if you've received any emails from TESOL about when your midterm exam will be. Has anybody heard anything about that?
Not me.
Not yet.
I have
No.
not heard anything about it either. If I do hear anything, I would put it into the group chat box on WhatsApp. But I haven't heard anything about when your midterm exam will be.
Mm. Oh yes. Also, Mr. Miller, you had asked about, because I had mentioned that I would have to do the practicum part of this course,
Yep.
and I emailed Simon about it,
Good.
and he said basically he could set up the practicum in June. I guess it would be in 2 sessions, where I would do the part that has to do with the conversation lessons, and then later on in July it would be on the 4 skills lesson plan, from how it sounded, but it just based on the schedule that I'm able to work on it, they're able to provide students accordingly online.
Well, very good. Yes, I knew that they had done that before. They had provided students before for the TESOL participants, but I'm not involved in setting that up. So I'm glad he replied back to you. So that's fine. It should work out fine then for you, Z.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And at some point, after you have a bit of experience with a few of those sessions, at some point, I expect one of the instructors will be asked to join a session with you and observe what you're doing as you teach somebody and write a report about that. I've done that with a few other TESOL students. I do not know if I will be the person assigned to observe you or not, but I might be. So hopefully I am, because that would be great.
Okay.
Just saw
Sounds good.
I just saw your note, Eleanor, that you have to leave at 2:30. That's fine. No problem. And in fact, we can end today's session now unless somebody else has questions.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about anything?
No, so far so good. Thank you.
All right, then I am closing the recording for today.